Hi, in this video I'm going to continue with adding some highlights to the box. If you missed the first two parts, you can find them in my channel. Now let's get started with deleting these objects. We won't need them anymore. Next I'm going to select the box, click here to keep the aspect ratio and scale it up a little bit. Now even though I aligned the objects, you can still see this white line. This is a very small gap between the two pieces, and I'm going to get rid of it by selecting one of the objects, and I'm going to change the number for the X position to move this selected object very slightly to the right. Next I'm going to select both objects and hit the ungroup option. Next I'll select this object, Ctrl D to duplicate it, then I'll start the fill and stroke tool, and I want to change the color to 60% gray. Then I'm going to change the opacity to 42 and select linear gradient. Then I'm going to choose this tool and adjust the gradient. Next, with the select and transform tool, I'm going to select this object, Ctrl D to duplicate it, again choose 60% gray, change the opacity to 42, and again I need to select the linear gradient option. Then I want to move the start stop of the gradient, which is indicated with a square, to the right, and the circle, the end stop, to the left, and position it. Then select and transform tool, zoom out. Now I want to add a highlight. I'm going to use the Bezier tool. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click over here, enter key to finish, and now I'm going to go to the stroke tab and change the color to white. For blur I'm going to type 1, and for opacity 30. And next I'll go to the stroke style and change the width to 3.9. Next, select and transform tool, zooming in, and I want to select this object. With the shift key add to the selection this one, Ctrl D to duplicate them, group them, and I'm going to zoom in here and select this piece also. Let's do this one more time, selecting the group. Now this object, clip, set, and this way the blur won't go outside of the box. Next I'm going to create another highlight, but before that let's create a black background so we can see better how these highlights look. I'm going to send this object to the bottom, and now we can see better our box and highlights. And I want to create another one here with the Bezier tool. I'm going to click here, then around here, enter key to finish, then go to the stroke pane, change the color to white, adjust the blur to 2 this time, and the opacity to 20. I'm going to select the radial gradient option, and I'm checking the stops here, making sure everything is white. Close this, and also change the stroke style to 5.8. Next I'm going to grab the select and transform tool, click here to select this object, holding down the shift key, click here to select this one, Ctrl D to duplicate them, group them, then click over here to select the object that we just created. I made a mistake, so shift click on the background to remove it from the selection, shift click here to add the object, then go to the object menu, clip set, and now this highlight is clipped. Let's zoom out and you see how this looks. Now again with the Bezier tool I'm going to create another highlight. I'm going to click here, also here. I'm just going to outline the box. Click here, and I'm going to click over the start node and close this. Next, let's change the color to white, the blur to 1, and the opacity to just 5. I'm also going to change the stroke style width to 5.8 again, and maybe I can reduce the opacity to 4. Next, with the select and transform tool, click here, shift click here, Control D, group, zoom in, shift click here to add the object that we created, then again object clip set. Now let's take a look at our box. There's one more thing I want to do with the Bezier tool. I'm going to click here. So let's undo this. We need to be more precise this time. Zoom in closer. Click over here. I want to make the bottom of the box darker, and I can use the mask option, but it's going to take too much time. I'm going to go around it by using a gradient. I'm going to show you how you can mask objects when I create the reflection, and that's going to happen in the next part of this tutorial. I'm going to close this and go ahead and remove the stroke, and I want to add a linear gradient here for the fill. Then I'll click on this tool to adjust the gradient. I'm going to move the start stop over here and the end stop over here. Let's move it a little bit to the right. And now I'm going to zoom out to see how it looks. Let's move this object away for a second, and I think it looks much better with this dark piece at the bottom. Now you probably noticed that some objects need some adjusting. I'm going to do that in the next part and also create the reflection, and I hope that this one was useful. If you are new to my tutorials, subscribe and visit my channel for more. Hope you liked the video and leave me a comment, and that's it for now. Bye.